Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to make this really pretty pendant, and so easy. You're going to be so surprised. And this pendant uses some of the beads from Eureka Crystal Beads Royal Plumage Collection, which they re-released, and which is so beautiful. I think it's one of their most beautiful iconic collections, and I've got a few pieces that we'll be making using the beads from that collection. So I've added a couple of beads of my own, but for the majority of the piece is using the beads from the collection. Right now, I just want to give you some info here. Right now the collection is sold out, but it will be restocked on August 3rd. So if you didn't get yours, get it August 3rd. It is gorgeous. Absolutely love it. They're also doing a special giveaway of one of the collections through 8/1, and you can look on the website to see how you can enter for the giveaway. I'm going to put some of the information in the description box below the video. Let's see what else is going on. They have a special VIP $25 discount off the Hearthside collection where we made some ornaments from. That's through 8/1, and there's a code for that. I'll put that in the description box below the video. They've got a lot of stuff going on. I posted this all on Facebook, but I'll just give you a quick run through. They've also restocked the Destination collection, which is one of the most beautiful neutral collections. And just a little secret between you and me, coming in September, I have curated a collection with them again, and there also will probably be a restock of the Stonehenge collection if you missed that one. So I think that's about everything. I will, put some of the info in the description box below the video so you can check everything out. So I'm going to clear this off, get materials that's going, and we'll get started on this really pretty pendant. Okay, let's do the materials right now. So we've got a 14mm Rivoli. This is gorgeous, green Sphinx color. We've got a Super Duo. I've got an 11/0 Toho. I've got an 11/0 Miyuki and a 15/0 Miyuki. This is what I've added here, the gold beads. We've got a Gem Duo, 4mm pearls, some 4mm bicones. I've got a size 11 beading needle, 6-pound fire line. I'm using the black satin. These gorgeous silk crinkly ribbons are from an Etsy shop, which I'll link down below. And this beautiful chain we made in another video. I'll link that video down below. So I'm going to clear this off, and we will get started making this beautiful pendant. Okay, let's get started. So thread your needle with about 3 feet of thread, put on a stop bead about in the middle. We'll use both threads. So I've picked up and dropped down to my stop bead 2 Super Duos and an 11/0, and I did that 7 times. So here we go, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups of 2 Super Duos and an 11/0. Okay, next up I'm going to sew these into a circle. Just going to come through the first few beads after the stop bead. That's what it looks like. And you're just going to reinforce this all the way around, and you'll exit the bottom hole of a Super Duo. Okay, this is what it looks like. So I've come around. Here's my stop bead and my tail thread. I've passed it by, a few beads, and I'm exiting the bottom hole of a Super Duo. So I'm just going to sew through the top hole of that same Super Duo. Okay, so this is where we are. We're exiting the top hole of a Super Duo, so the 2 Super Duos are together here, and then we have the 11/0 in between. Make sure your tail thread with the stop bead is exiting the bottom hole of a Super Duo, whichever one. If it isn't, just move it so it's exiting the bottom hole of a Super Duo. Now we're going to pick up the Gem Duo, and we're just going to sew, we're exiting here, we're going to sew through the next top hole of the next Super Duo. Make sure it pops into place. Sometimes it likes to twist around like that. There we go. Make sure it's upright, and then you're going to pick up an 11/0, and where you have an 11/0 here, you're going to sew through the top hole of the next Super Duo. So we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So picking up a Gem Duo, sewing through the top hole of the next Super Duo, like so, and then you're going to pick up an 11/0 and sew through the next top hole of the next Super Duo. So you'll always have a Gem Duo in between these 2, and then you'll have 2 11/0s like that. So just do that all the way around, and then we'll continue. Okay, coming down to my last bead, it's going to be an 11/0. I'm going to sew through the next Super Duo. I'm going to go on and sew through this Gem Duo, bottom hole of the Gem Duo, and then the top hole of that same Gem Duo. That's what it looks like. Okay, this is what we have so far. Here's our working thread. We're exiting the top hole of a Gem Duo. I'm just going to put that thread and needle aside, and I have my tail thread here. I've taken off the stop bead, and I've threaded a needle. Now make sure your tail thread is exiting the bottom hole of one of the super duos, and it's up here. You don't want it coming out the back, you want it coming out the front, just like that. Now I'm going to move this thread so I'm exiting the bottom hole here of the super duo. I'm going to sew through the top hole of that super duo, and if I can get it at one time, the gem duo. If you can't, just do one bead at a time. The top hole of this super duo, so the next super duo, and this 11-0 right at the top here. So you want your thread, that tail thread, to be exiting an 11-0 in between the two super duos, just like that. Okay, this is what I have so far. So I'm exiting this 11-0 right here. I'm going to pick up two 15-0s, an 11-0, and two 15-0s, and I'm using the Toho from the collection here. So exiting here, I'm just going to hop over to the next 11-0 and sew through that one. Make sure it goes in front of the beads like so. Don't get caught like I did. Okay, there we go. Just like that. I'm going to pick up two 15-0s again. The 11-0 and two 15-0s. I'm going to do that again. Exiting this 11-0, I'm just going to go through the very next 11-0, like that. And you're just going to continue that all the way around. Okay, coming down to my last group of two 15-0s, an 11-0 and two 15-0s. I'm exiting this 11-0. I'm just going to sew through that next 11-0 right before that first group I put on, just like that. And then I'm going to sew up through the first two 15-0s and 11-0 of that very first group. So you're just moving on through these two 15-0s and the 11-0. That's just going to set you up to put some more beads on. Okay, this is where we are. We're exiting an 11-0 in between that group of the 15-0. So we're going to use all these 11-0s as connection. So now you're going to pick up those absolutely gorgeous bicones or whatever bicones you have. And they're all different colors in the collection, and that's how I put them on. I didn't really, pick out all one color, but you can do anything you like. So here I'm just going to pick up one of my 4mm bicones, and I'm going to sew through the next 11-0. And do that again. Just going to keep putting them on. I'm only going to sew through the 11-0s. Like that. That's what it looks like. So pretty. And at this point you can pop in your stone. It's it's not going to stay in there. You just pop it in and then hold it with your thumb. And then continue adding your bicones through each 11-0. Okay, I'm coming down to my last bicone, so exiting the 11-0, between the 15-0s, I'm going to sew through the next one. Just pull that into place. Look at that, isn't that amazing? The colors, how they play off each other. That's gorgeous. Okay, so we're exiting that 11-0 in right here. I'm just going to sew through the next bicone. Just like that. Next up, we're just going to put a 15-0 in between each bicone. So picking up my 15-0, and that's going to pull it together. I just do that all the way around, like so. Okay, coming down to the end, putting on my last 15-0. I know it's hard to see because of the colors, but here's the bicone, here's the other bicone, so putting that 15-0 in, and that's going to pull it in tight. Then you want to reinforce this all the way around. Now you can go through just all the beads again, like that, and see how snug it is, and if it's not snug enough for you, you can always just skip the 15-0 and just go through all the bicones, and it sort of pulls it in. But mine's doing pretty well, just going all the way around like this. So I'm just going to keep doing that. And then you can just tie off this thread, and then we'll work with the other thread. So pretty. So I've sewn that thread in, where I did the bezel. And the way I did it is I came through, I went around and tightened it up. And then I was exiting a 15-0. I did a little knot in between the 15-0 and a bicone, and then pulled the thread through, and that ended that thread, and now we're going to work with the thread that is exiting the top hole of that gem duo. Okay, next up, we're going to pick up, we're using this thread now, it's exiting the top hole of the gem duo. We're going to pick up a 15-0, a 4mm pearl, and a 15-0, and you're just going to sew through the next gem duo, 15-0, pearl, 15-0, just through the next one, and you're going to do that all the way around. Coming down to my last 15-0, 4mm pearl, 15-0, I'm going to sew through the gem duo, so the top hole of that final gem duo, like that. And when you pull this, do you see how it's going to curve in? So you really want that to curve in. It just makes it look so pretty. And what you're going to do is just going to reinforce this around a little bit. So I'm just going through some of the beads here. And you want to make sure that it's curving inward. And then you're just going to end this thread. And we're going to finish our embellishment with a new thread because I want you to keep that curve. So just, you know, sew around a little bit, and then you can just put a knot, you know, a few half-hitch knots around until you have your nice curve going. And then we'll come back and we'll add the last of the embellishment. Okay, we're back. So we've, you know, done my outside pearls, and I've sewn my thread in, and then I added, you can add a long thread here because if you want to, you can add the herringbone bail on using this thread, or you can just do a short thread and put the bail on separately, whatever you like to do. So I have threaded my needle, put on a stop bead, I left enough of a tail to sew in. I've just come back through some beads, like I went through the gem duo, the 15-0, the pearl, the 15-0 gem duo, 15-0, and then I've exited a pearl. So just, you know, sort of adding a thread right there. So I'm exiting a pearl. I'm going to pick up two 15-0s. I'm going to sew through this 11-0 right here in between the two super duos. So I'm just going to place those two 15-0s on, and you don't have to pull it super tight, just get them in place there. I'm going to pick up two more 15-0s, exiting this 11-0. I'm going to sew through the pearl, the 15-0, and the next gem duo. Just want to place those on there. So just like that, give them a little pull, get them in place, and you're just going to move over to the next pearl. I'm going to pick up two 15-0s, exiting the pearl. I'm going to sew through this 11-0. Put those into place. Pick up two 15-0s, sewing back through the pearl. The next 15-0, of course, the gem duo. Just want to make sure those pop into place nicely. There we go. And then you're going to move down to the next pearl, and you're just going to continue that all the way around, and that's going to give you that little bit of a embellishment around the edges. Okay, so get that done and come back and we'll work on the bail. Okay, coming down to my last couple of 15-0s, so I've come through the pearl, I added my two 15-0s, came through the 11-0, picking up two 15-0s, sewing through the pearl, the next 15-0, and the gem duo, like that. And now I'm all embellished, and I'm just going to just move my thread down to the next gem duo. Right there, so through the pearl, the 15-0, and through the gem duo. And now you can either end this thread off, isn't that pretty? and we'll do the bail, and you can sew this thread in, or you can just continue on. I put a long thread on, so you can continue on and do the bail now. Okay, this is what we have so far. So you've either added a thread, or you're continuing to use your thread, and you're exiting the top hole of one of the gem duos. I'm going to the 11-0s now. I'm going to pick up four 11-0s. I'm just going to sew through the other side of the gem duo right there, and then up these two. So this is setting up to start the herringbone bail. And now we're just going to do some herringbone. So pick up two 11-0s. You're going to go down. So you're exiting here. You're going to sew down through this bead, the one next to it. Put those two on, and then up these two. Get my needle in there, like that. pull. Gonna pick up 2 11-ohs to your herringbone. So down the next bead. So down 1. Make sure that sits into place, and then up 2. Like that. Do it one more time. Pick up 2 11-ohs, sitting here, down this one. Set those into place, and then up these 2, like so. And you're just going to continue that all the way around, and we'll come back and connect it on the back, but you just want to make sure it's going to, you make it big enough to fit whatever chain you're putting on. So if you're going to do this 2 bead chain here, sort of spiral chain, I did counting these, from here, I will have, when I'm finished, 19 beads, so 19 herringbone stitches. But if you're using a bigger chain, you'll need to do more stitches, or if you just want to do a ribbon, you can do less. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it so it will fit through here, and the way, I have end caps on this, so it has to fit the end cap, so that'll be 19 altogether. All right, so get 18 of them on, including the setup row here, and the 19th herringbone stitch will be where we attach. Okay, I've got my length done, and now I'm going to connect to the back of the gem duo. So I'm exiting here, I'm going to pick up an 11-oh, and I'm on the back now. I'm just going to go through the gem duo, like that. And then I'm going to pick up another 11-oh, and I'm going to go up through the bead on the other side. So this one right here, just go through a few of them like that, and then when I pull, it's just gonna attach that. You see that? Just like so. So this is what I have. So I put the 11-oh, I went through the gem duo, I put on another 11-oh, and I sewed up through some of the beads on this side. Now I just want you to sew through all the beads again on this side, come through every one, come back to the gem duo and up through all the beads on the other side, and all the way down and through the gem duo again. And that's just going to really tighten up this bail a bit. So get that done, and then come back and we'll sew in this thread and we'll be done. So I've already sewn it in, but you'll be coming out of one side of your bail. You'll come through the gem duo, the 15-oh purl, 15-oh, and you'll just make some knots around the edge to secure that really nicely. And this is what it looks like. So we've got some ribbons here, I've got the chain here. I'll link where I purchased the ribbons. I mean, I could see this on Anne Boleyn's neck, in the good days. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you make it and post it on Facebook. And thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.